It's no secret that the Beatles were huge fans of Elvis Presley. John Lennon famously said in an interview, quote, "Before Elvis, there was nothing." John Lennon credited Elvis as the reason he became a musician. He explained how going to Presley's movies influenced him.
You know, you went to see those movies with Elvis or somebody in it when we were still in Liverpool, and you'd see everybody waiting to see him, right? And I'd be waiting there too. And they'd all scream when he came on the screen, right? So we thought, that's a good job.
Paul McCartney stated in an interview, quote, "We all loved Elvis, he was so hot. We were just so in love with him. He was just the greatest idol, always hamming it up, always doing a little funny thing. He was so great." Before the Beatles became famous, during the years 1957 to 1962, they were known to include several Elvis songs in their concerts. That's why it is surprising that they never, officially, recorded any of his songs. But luckily, on their 1963 BBC radio show, Pop Go the Beatles performed 4 different Elvis songs which were preserved on tape. Here are the 4 Elvis songs captured for posterity that the Beatles sang on their BBC radio show. Recorded on July 5, 1954, "That's All Right Mama" was Elvis Presley's first single. It made him an overnight local star in his hometown of Memphis in the summer of 1954, and is considered by many as the first rock and roll record. Paul McCartney sings lead on the Beatles version recorded on July 16, 1963. Years later, Paul McCartney got the chance to record "That's All Right" with Elvis' original guitarist, Scotty Moore, and original drummer, DJ Fontana. "I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Cry Over You" was recorded by the Beatles on August 6, 1963, with John Lennon singing lead. This song is an interesting study of how artists influence each other and interpret the song differently. Roy Hamilton, a singer that greatly influenced Elvis, first released the song in November 1953. His version had a pop and jazz feel to it. Elvis Presley took the song and added a rocking roll sound to it, speeding up the tempo. Presley's version was released on his first album, Elvis Presley, in 1956. The Beatles took it a step further, speeding it up even more. The song can also be found on the album, The Beatles, at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany 1962. George Harrison takes the lead on one of Presley's country songs called "I Forgot to Remember to Forget." The Beatles version was recorded on May 18, 1964. It was Elvis' last single released on Sun Records before he moved to RCA. "I Got a Woman" was written and recorded by Ray Charles in 1954. Elvis recorded his version on January 10, 1956 and released it as a single. The Beatles recorded the song with John Lennon singing lead for their BBC radio show on August 13, 1963, and also the following year on March 31, 1964. Note that all 4 of these songs are featured on the 2-disc CD set, Live at the BBC. A fun fact is that, according to Beatles historian Mark Lewisone, the Beatles sang a whopping 30 different covers of Elvis songs during their early days in Liverpool and Hamburg. The songs ranged from Heartbreak Hotel to Jailhouse Rock to It's Now or Never. But sadly, no recorded versions of these songs exist. John, Paul and George each sang lead on specific songs, and surprisingly, Stuart Sutcliffe and Pete Best also had their turn singing an Elvis song or two. You can see the full list of songs in the description below. Read more fascinating stories about the behind-the-scenes relationship between the King and the Fab Four in the book by Trina Young called Elvis and the Beatles: Love and Rivalry Between the Two Biggest Acts of the 20th Century. Read a free excerpt at daytrippin.com, or listen to the audiobook for free right here on Daytrippin's YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like this video to help this channel grow. Please subscribe to this channel and ring the bell for notifications of future videos, and keep watching more Beatles videos here.